is just a huge, huge honor for me today to be podcast interviewing Scott Westermeier, who's been a friend of mine forever, and Maria Miecyjak. Scott Westermeier is a third-generation dentist practicing in his hometown community of East Aurora, New York for over 30 years. What's that, outside Buffalo?
Yes, sir.
A passionate student of all things marketing, Scott is a great believer in the powers of positive thinking, focusing on the goal and then just doing it. He applies these concepts to all areas of his life, attributing much of the success of growing from one location to three, all fee-for-service. In 2016, Scott co-founded and serves as CEO of One Buffalo Dental, a completely dentist-owned DSO to service 7 locations representing 2 brands. Scott and his college sweetheart Donna were blessed with 3 children. Scott is building his own legacy model. The oldest starts dental school this fall. That is amazing. And then your sidekick there, Maria Miecyjak, has been serving as the COO, Chief Operating Officer of One Buffalo Dental, since 2016, and is responsible for DSO services, including practice growth, marketing, and overall operations for 7 offices. Prior to her promotion to this post, Maria was the practice administrator at Westermeier Martin Dental since 1995 and grew and guided this fee-for-service practice with 1 location and 7 ops to 3 locations with 33 ops. Recently, she was recognized for her efforts by being named Woman of Influence in the area by a leading business journal. Maria and her husband Richard have 2 children. The younger will be joining their practice as a dentist next month. He just finished his residency and graduated from Temple Dental School. Congratulations to both of us. So Scott and Maria, you both made a dentist.
Yes, we did.
So he'll be 4th generation.
Yeah, exactly.
You've got to have your DNA analyzed and find this gene, and then donate all your money to how it can be corrected with medication. So what? Scott, you've been we've been talking about what you've been doing. When did you present? When did you tell me about what you're doing for the first time? It had to be.
I think we met in Destin at one of the shows.
Woody Oaks show.
Yeah,
Was it Woody Oaks?
It was the Woody Oaks show. Yep.
Yeah.
How's Woody doing? Have you talked to him lately?
I've seen him a little bit. He's still kicking around online, though. I see him, liking something on Facebook occasionally. So he's still cooking.
His editor of the Profitable Dental Dentist magazine is going to come on and do a podcast.
Oh, great.
Yeah, Floyd Knobs, Indiana. But I really, really like what you did. What do you want to talk about first? You want to talk about your marketing, your genius marketing idea?
We do something kind of unique and kind of cool that really saved our practice, and it's become the foundation of the successful story we have today. We built a fairly unique. I'll just say it. We just built a $10 million fee-for-service practice on the back of implant seminars that we give to the public, and we do it every single month, and it just works incredibly. And we like to share it with the world because we show other dentists how to do the exact same thing.
And I want to add to that, Scott, that we are in Buffalo, New York. This is not California. This is not a high net worth area. It's in Buffalo, New York. Happens to be 3rd poorest city in the entire country.
It happens to be the what in the entire country?
3rd poorest city in the entire country.
If it gets any poorer, I think the Buffalo Bills are going to Canada.
They're lucky to be here still.
Haven't they been threatening that for like 10 years?
Then a guy with a lot of money came by and grabbed him. He doesn't care anymore.
Oh, so the guy that was going to take him to Canada is gone, and it's a new guy?
Right.
Oh, yeah, I did not know that.
Yeah.
But,
and in Pagula, bought the Sabres and the Bills.
But you got Ivaclair up the street. A suburb of Buffalo is Amherst, and Ivaclair could have gone anywhere in America, and they chose a suburb of Buffalo, New York. Why do you think that was?
I have no idea.
Close to the border.
Is that the coldest thing they could find to mimic where they're from? And where are they from? Liechtenstein. They had to find something as frozen tundra as Liechtenstein, so they went to Buffalo.
I think it's because they bought a company called Williams Gold in Buffalo a long time ago. I think that's how the story goes.
That's right. You are correct. You just re-jogged my memory. So tell my homies what you do.
So back in recession time, what time was that?
2008.
8, 9, somewhere in there. I took my eye off the ball in the practice and thought I was going to go out and be a real estate rock star, and got myself right up to my eyeballs into a deal that almost took me down, and I lost a bunch of money. And I came back to the practice and said, "Holy cow, Maria,
Something like
we
that.
we gotta get this practice popping again because I know we can make it work, but I just was doing something else for a while." So she had an idea, and I didn't think it would work, and she prevailed, and she came out of the. Well, I'll tell you. You tell them where.
So I used to work in ophthalmology, and one of the things that we did was we understood that people really didn't buy what they didn't understand, and so seminars, public education seminars by the ophthalmologist brought in people who were interested, and they converted them. And I didn't see how that couldn't work in dentistry. And I talked to Scott about this for a long time, but it seemed, timing is everything. And when he got his rear end kicked, as he says, I think it was time we had to do something. We knew there were times in the day and times in the schedule where everything went smoothly and we were able to produce at high value fees. And we thought, well, what can we do also to create more of that, to attract more of that to that practice? And we thought, well, the timing was right. Let's put together a patient seminar for implants. At that time, there were a lot of ads, a lot of confusion in the marketplace. There were a lot of messages out there, and people would be constantly calling the front desk asking, well, what are these implants, and what is a partial, and what's a denture, and what's a mini implant, and how do I know what's right for me? And instead of putting people into the book, our front desk ladies were answering a lot of questions. And so we thought, well, let's change the furniture in a reception area a little bit, put together a little presentation, and let it be known to the public that we're doing a public education seminar and invite the public. And so we did. And we really didn't know who was going to come. Scott said, why do you think people are going to come? They don't want to even come to their dental appointment. Why would they leave the comfort of their homes to come listen about teeth? But that first night we had 35 people show up, and we were so new to this, we didn't even know to ask them to make an appointment. But all of a sudden people started to raise their hand and say, well, can I schedule a consult? And we're like, well, okay, sure. So we decided to do it again the next month, and we thought maybe it was just beginner's luck, but we did the next one, and just as many people showed up. But this time we were smart enough to ask them to schedule a consult. And at some point we thought we would run out of people, but it's 9 years later, and we now do 3 a month, and it's stronger than ever.
I was so chicken.
So you, for 9 years, you've been doing this once a month on average?
Yeah.
Once a month?
Never missed.
Is it mostly in dentistry? Is it mostly dental implants?
That's the hook. We do talk mostly about dental implants, but what happens is people come in with all kinds of dental needs naturally. Right. We call it just kind of collateral dentistry, but we've watched the metrics now and studied it, and it takes a few months to figure it out per each seminar. But here's a wild claim that we make when we show people how to do this: is we do $50,000 to $100,000 worth of dentistry that comes out of every single seminar we do. So we take an hour and a half in an evening once a month, do a little dog and pony show, and we book a barrel of dentistry.
So when you were in ophthalmology, what were you educating them on? Was it cataracts or?
It was mostly the LASIK surgery at that point.
Okay, LASIK surgery, right?
Yeah.
That was, I still say that was the greatest gift I gave to myself. I don't know if it was LASIK, I don't know the name of it, but I had glasses forever, and I had 20/20 vision. But I finally went down there, and I wouldn't do it because the ophthalmologist said they wouldn't do it on their own eye because at first it was like a 4 millimeter cut. Then the laser got bigger to 6 millimeters. But they said sometimes you dilate to 8. But finally, my own ophthalmologists were coming in. And when my first ophthalmologist patient had it done to his, he goes, well, they got an 8 millimeter. There's no halo. It's computer done, blah, blah, blah. I went and had it done, and I couldn't believe it. I saw twice as good without my glasses. And with my glasses, they told me I had 20/20 vision. But, I'll never forget the first night we were sitting in the backyard, and I was looking at this mountain, and I told the boy, I said, look up there. It looks like there's like a road or a ledge up there. And my boys looked at me like, and? What do you mean? Why? I'd never even seen it with my glasses on. But there's what the oldest DSO is in America?
Harlan, I don't know.
Oh no, man! There's 100-year-old. affordable dentures.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And you know what their hook is? Just like you said when they come in to talk about implants, but if you need an implant, you might probably need cavities, root canals. I mean, you got all things going on. Their biggest deal is they have a low price extraction, like the lowest price in the area, because anybody who comes in who needs a tooth extracted for the lowest price, because for all the price shoppers, so they'll go into an area and say everybody's charging 100 to 150 for a single tooth extract. They'll say, okay, $99. But what else does that $99 guy need if he needs an extraction? He probably needs anything from a partial denture, root canals, crowns, bridges. So I can see how you can have a seminar on implants, and it could lead to root canals and crown and bridge and cleanings and root planing and everything under the sun.
The thing that made sense about implants is everybody hears about them, but if you stopped anybody on the street and asked them, what is it? How much does it cost? Does it hurt? They don't know any of the answers to that stuff. So there was this fuzziness, and they want to know, I hear they're good, I hear they're terrible, I hear they hurt. So they want to get cleared up on that. And this is a free, no strings attached type of deal for them to do that. So they come in and get some free groceries, a bunch of smiling people, a tour of a nice dental office. We make it so friendly, they fall in love with us, and all we're pitching is a free consult at the end of the night. And they already know what it is that's going on, how much things cost. And we just did 22 consults at one time, so we leverage time in a big way. So the consults are great. They come in and I kind of show them the menu, show them their x-ray and say, well, you were here and you could have 1, 2, 3, or 4. What do you think? And they say, oh, I like number 3. Great. Sign right here. It's great.
So on the free consult, what is that? Is that a CBCT and an exam?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And how are you target marketing? I mean, are you mostly going after the silent generation, the one before the baby boomers, elderly, or is it how do you market? Do you target it, and who are you? How do you market it? Is it direct mail, flyers?
Every week we market the practice, we market it, but we specifically market it as a freestanding thing as opposed to our practice. We market this as an event, an educational event. And it's important. We made that distinction some time ago. Dan Kennedy taught us to do that, actually. He said, separate it from your practice. He goes, make it a adult education type event and make it clear that they can just sit there without having to sign anything or get involved with anything. And sure enough, that psychology seemed to play off. Some free food, friendly people, a 5th grade presentation, and before they know it, they're feeling smarter. They like the environment. They say, hey, I want to play with you guys. And that's how it works.
Yeah, and what's always interesting is there will always be people in the audience who have an appointment with their own dentist on Monday morning, let's say, and they come in to listen all about their options at our seminar because obviously they never got the information that they needed, or they want a second opinion. And then this is just a great way for them to do that. And I can't tell you how many times those people will turn around and make an appointment with us.
It's amazing. What % of dentists would you say in the last 10 years has not done one single $20,000 treatment plan?
Oh God, they can't even say that word usually.
Okay, go to 10,000. What percent of the American dentists have not done a $10,000 treatment plan in the last decade?
Have not done them?
Have not done one $10,000 treatment plan. A full mouth rehab.
Yeah, at least half, I would say.
Oh, you say half, not half? I'd say 80%.
Really?
Yeah.
I ask that question in my seminars all the time. I mean, it's got to be 80%.
We are very blessed as we travel the country. I can't even believe how hard it is to find a fee-for-service practice. I mean, I was with some guys in Louisville a couple weeks ago, and they said, "Oh, you couldn't have one of those in Louisville. They don't exist." I said, "What are you talking about? Of course, they sell Lexuses down the street. People will pay for teeth." And they're like, "Oh, we don't think so." Okay, that's your problem. The mentality.
The median average price of a new car in America is $33,000. And what % of those practices in Louisville in the last 10 years have bought a $33,000 car? What %? A third? And then what % of those 1/3 that bought a $33,000? I mean, I don't know. I mean, an easy third. And then what % of those who bought a $33,000, whether it's an F-150 pickup truck or whatever, has walking around with their mouth in disarray? Because the dentist.
Last time I checked, insurance doesn't buy you a pickup truck.
Yeah, exactly. So now, are you placing implants, or who's doing all your implant placement? If you sell all these cases, who's placing them?
My partner puts the screws in, and I put the tops on, whatever that is, whether it's a full arch or a single crown. But he does about 1,000 a year. Dr. Jeff Martin is awesome. He's a general dentist. We've been partners. We graduated together. And
From where?
He has become an incredible surgeon.
Where'd you guys go?
Buffalo.
Buffalo. Yeah. Did Buffalo ever get accredited?
I hope so. I'm sending my kid there.
Bada bing. And what implant system did he go with?
We go with BioHorizons. They've been taking great care of us, and we only have one system in the office, and everybody knows what every little screw and part looks like, so there's no confusion. It's been a great system.
Now, didn't Carl Misch start? That's in Alabama. Didn't Carl Misch? He was a big involved at the beginning of that, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was involved in the design, the original designs, I believe. Maestro or something like that.
Yeah. That was an amazing man, an amazing company. But yeah, BioHorizons is crushing it. So this seminar is, so what percent of those 1,000 implants, those 1,000 BioHorizons you're placing a year, do you think came from your seminar, your monthly seminar presentation?
Oh, vast majority.
Vast majority.
Yeah. And
yeah. And if not directly, indirectly via referrals from people that came in via the seminar. But there's no question. That's the foundation to our whole practice now. We're the guys that give those seminars, and whether people come or not, they know that we do this every month. So we kind of established a certain notoriety for just that, if nothing else.
Now, what is your website? Theempoweredpractice.com.
So that's an operation we put together that involves a few things.
Is that right?
That is exactly it. Theempoweredpractice.com.
So to learn more about this, my homies should go to just www.theempoweredpractice.com. What are they going to find if they go there?
So what we did is we figured out, people kept asking us how we do this, and after a while, took a little bit of time to explain what we did. So we put it all together. We put it in a box. Every detail of how we assemble the seminar, the presentation, a little coaching how to do the presentation, some videos on when we do the presentation, all the build-up, the ads, the ad copy, the follow-up stuff. We put all this stuff in a box so that a guy could get this kit, hand it to his office manager and say, we're doing this next month, and it's step-by-step, baby simple, and boom, they can have a successful seminar right out of the chute. Because it took us a while, trial and error, to get this thing down, and now you can get it right the first time. Just kind of like getting a recipe to a cake. You can throw all the stuff together, but unless you do it right, you don't get a cake.
Now, you also give this lecture to study clubs and to dental study clubs, teaching dentists how to do that, right?
We've had not so much study clubs, but we've had it on podcasts. Well, Tom Orant, Woody Oaks,
Gems, yeah.
The
Tom Warren, the 1,000 Gem Seminar in downtown. Don't tell me to Boston, right?
Yep.
Jerry Jones,
Gary Takes used to just put us on his podcast, and we kind of did the how-to, like exactly. There's kind of a 10-step, for the do-it-yourselfers out there who didn't want to buy the kit. They just can listen to us, kind of take notes, and put the whole thing together themselves and do it next month. It works out great. It makes too much money. It's just stupid not to do it. Some people say, "Oh, that's a pain in the neck." I used to say that until I realized that's the most profitable hour I have in the entire month, and now it gets to be fun. At the end of the day, I walk up from the chairs in the back. The waiting room is set up like a theater. I walk into a bunch of people. They practically applause. It's kind of cool, and tell our little story and answer some questions at the end, and it's amazing.
Now you've been selling your program to dentists for 9 years, right?
No. We only put it together,
maybe 4 years ago, 5 years ago.
You guys have been giving the seminars for 9 years.
Yeah.
Okay,
yes.
You've done it once a month for 9 years, but how long have you been selling your program?
About 5 years, 4 years.
5 years. And what's the percent that love it? What's the pushback? Who's it a perfect fit for? I mean, they say one of the greatest fears is public speaking, but I've never been at a funeral where anybody said, well, at least he's not giving a speech, But so my homies listening to you, what's the perfect fit in the 5 years doing this? Do they need to be a little kind of Broadway, someone who liked Toastmasters and... Like
Well, let me tell you,
presentations or what
that's
if
probably
she's
the
driving to work and says, look, man, I'm an introvert geek. I'm afraid of my own shadow. I don't even like to talk to a mirror.
I'd like to answer that. So we actually, we found that the dentists who maybe are not so showy actually do better because people do not expect their dentists to be Broadway stars. I mean, they expect them to be dentists. And part of our presentation or part of our kit includes a presentation. So all they really need to do is show up and talk about the dentistry. And in the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. I mean, the dentists know more about any of the things in this presentation than anybody in the audience.
I have never
And
heard that. In the land of the blind, a one-eyed man is king.
yeah,
Oh my
I mean,
God, that's
we've had dentists who had that same same concerns, and they do great because all they do is they just follow the presentation.
Howard. I was so chicken. I'm not particularly shy, but when we made our mind up to do this, I kind of chickened out, and I made my implant rep give the presentation. I'm like, you sell this stuff all day long. Why don't you give this talk? And so she did, and she did well. But as I'm watching her from the back of the room, I'm like, I can do it better than that. So the next one we did, and then Marie and I would share the stage. Steve Jobs taught us a few tricks, keeping it simple and share the stage, and we employ a lot of stuff. And now we just have a ball doing it. She introduced
the key to public speaking is being authentic. So if you're not a good public speaker and you're afraid, you just go up and tell your audience, look, I'm not a good public speaker and I'm nervous, so bear with me or whatever. Then they start having empathy towards you. Now they're on your team. They're trying to cheer you on to get through the presentation. As long as you're authentic and truthful and you're talking about something you're passionate about, it always works.
We found that to be absolutely true. And we screw up, we laugh, we giggle, we trip and fall. I mean, there's nothing slick about it at all. It's very homespun, and I think that's why people respond so well to it.
That's right. And we learned that doctor actually means teacher.
Somebody said that.
Yeah. So we're kind of like we tell doctors, you're coming back full circle.
Well, doctor is a Latin word from docere, meaning doctor, just like Bible is a Latin word meaning book, just like dentist is a Latin word meaning God.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure on that last one. I just assume that's what it means. But yeah. So when people say just like Allah is just means God. I mean, Bible just means book. But anyway, so you do have a PowerPoint presentation, right?
Absolutely.
I think the best thing to do is just put up your presentation and give it.
Okay.
Want to do it?
And if you're listening to this on iTunes, it's audio. I mean, I'm sure you're going to get it without the presentation. If you really want to see the slides, you can subscribe to us, follow us on YouTube, and then on Dentaltown, on the Dentaltown app, on every one of these podcasts, you can either hit video and watch it live. Most people listen to it on audio because they say I have a face for radio, and they say I should have never been on video. And so I would just put up your PowerPoint presentation. I'll shut up. I'm gonna stay completely out of it. Give your entire presentation. Don't worry about the length of time, and then just have it in mind that most people, probably 85%, are listening to this audio on their way to work.
So they already know who we are. There he is. So a lot of people find themselves kind of stuck. We find that a lot of practices right now, whether because of the economy or the changes in the insurance or any number of reasons, they just kind of flatten out and get stuck. They're like, how do I get to the next level? What can I do? And it sucks to be stuck, no question. And I like to warn people, I think it's really important when you get at this point, and a lot of people do in dentistry, it's a little bit of a dangerous time. It's when dentists make mistakes. They take their eye off the ball. They go out and do something outside of dentistry like I did. And I thought I was going to be a real estate hero, and I got my butt handed to me in a big deal, lost almost $1 million. And that hurt bad. That put me in a spiral that I had never been in before. I never understood people that couldn't sleep at night until then. And that became me. This is when people have affairs. This is when people do stupid things or start toying with drugs or get suicidal. And it's a dangerous time in your career. So I say we have an option for you to get unstuck. And don't get caught into that thing. Let's just say this. You're overtrained and underutilized. We know how to do tons of stuff, there's just not enough people walking into practice asking for the stuff that you know how to do. And very often dentists, they think that they just go out and take another course, learn how to do a root canal faster, or do a little perio, do a little new bonding, do this or that. That's going to save them. And it doesn't. It doesn't make more people knock at your door and come in. So the answer, we think, is a steady stream of qualified patients that seek our high-value services, whether that be crown and bridge, implant services, or any of the other things that you like to do that you get paid well to do.
And so right now we're going to share with you how we got unstuck, how we stand out from the competition, how we were able to create our own economy, how we became insurance independent, and we now own 3 fee-for-service practices, and how to unlock the value for patients so that they can stop the online shopping.
So I kind of alluded to my story already. The only interesting part of the story is that we had a pretty good suburban practice outside of Buffalo. We were doing okay. We had spikes of good performance and otherwise just level. It was fee for service, and we were pretty solid. But I went a little bit sideways and thought I was going to do something else because my buddies on the golf course, they were retiring or selling their companies or hitting home runs and playing more golf and working less. And I'm like, damn, that sounds pretty good because all my income has to go through my hands as a dentist. And as blessed as we are in this profession, we are cursed by that chain to the chair if you choose that model. And at that point, that's all I had done. So I was interested in other stuff. So anyway, here's a shot of our suburban practice. We're 25 miles outside of Buffalo. It's a nice little community, but it's not rich or poor. We have everybody from the farmers to a couple of wealthy folks. But it's like any other USA practice.
My job as practice manager at Westermeier Martin was to meet practice goals that was set by the owners and doctors. And at that point, Scott decided that he needed to make the practice sing anymore. So we were looking to create a stream of high-value cases to the practice. So how do we do that? Well, we knew how to market. And we marketed quite a bit, but so did other dentists in the area. And by doing though, inadvertently, we created a lot of confusion in the marketplace because people were getting a lot of messages, and they if you asked anybody walking down the street what a dental implant was, they probably couldn't tell you, or maybe they heard something about a regular or a mini. And we knew also that people really didn't buy what they didn't understand.
We recognize this as an opportunity because of that confusion. And we love this statement done by a big clothier around us. He said, and it was a famous commercial, people identify with it around here, an educated consumer is our best customer. Well, we kind of ran with that idea thinking, wow, people are confused and we were able to deliver the education, maybe we could make some hay with that. So that in conjunction with the fact that we were wasting time explaining over and over and over what an implant is, how it works, how, all kinds of dental treatment we spent too much time doing. And we got those television shows and those computer programs, and they were all fine and they helped, but there's nothing like a real live thing. So Maria came up with this idea.
We decided to do patient education seminars for the community, free, no obligation, no commitment. We thought that we would advertise it. We thought we would put out some chairs, some food. We would educate the people about dental implants. And, when we first started doing this, we had lots of questions. We didn't really know how to do it. We didn't really know what to do. But we kept doing it. And at first it was hit or miss until we hit the right formula of message and putting it in the media. And now we're happy to say that our patient education seminars are honestly single-handedly the most important thing we do in marketing in our practice.
So from being stuck and losing my butt in the real estate game, only a couple years later, here's what we found we built as a result of this. Oh, we put a shot in. This is what a typical seminar in our office looks like. There's only about not even 15 people at this one. This is a light one.
And of course, it's June, and they're all wearing coats, right? So it's
beautiful Buffalo weather, right? But there's Celine up the front with a little laptop computer. You can't see the projection screen, but we drop it down there and we give a little talk. So here's what we produced as a result. This year, we'll do over $11 million in this practice, in this one building. We'll do just shy of 1,000 implants in the past 12 months. a whole lot of other collateral dentistry. The schedule's jammed. We've had to hire associates. We do $50,000 to $100,000 every month we do this in new production, directly attributable to the seminars. So if you think you don't have a way out, you can add this right on top of an existing schedule and try to create a mess in your office. I'll tell you what, it's all right. We are not periodontists or oral surgeons or implantologists or anything. We're two general dentists, but we have probably created a go-to implant practice based on the fact that we wave this flag every single month, and we put this on routinely as a patient education thing, and it doesn't suck anymore.
So we've had to add 2 associates. We've had to add a specialist. We added a bunch more ops. Our hourly production went up, Scott. Now you went from 4 days a week to, what, 3 days a week?
Can't wait till it's 2.
And now we have money for new equipment, for training, for bonuses, for CE. So it doesn't suck anymore.
I'll tell you what, by refining your schedule and your practice, and granted, I'm a little older now, we're 57 years old, and we've been around a little bit, so it helps. But last month of May, I set a new personal record that the highest production I've ever had in my whole life on 3 days a week. And I don't know, it's north of $300,000. And for me, that's good. I know there's superstars out there that do more than that, but for me, that was pretty darn good. And I'd fairly say that most people would say that would be good for them too. So if we can do it, you certainly can do this.
And this is how you do it.
So listen, Howard asked us to just walk through the steps for the do-it-yourselfers out there, because I will tell you at the end, we have a kit or a box. We call it a blueprint. You can copy exactly what we do every single month. We made it a way for you to be able to do that. But whether you take advantage of that or not is totally up to you. But if you're a do-it-yourselfer, man, take a few notes. We're going to tell you right now the 10 steps, exactly how we do this every month. So get your pencil out and record this, because here we go. So we literally break this down into steps. Here's step 1.
So you commit to a date, you commit to a time and location. Usually 6 weeks out for your first one is good to get all your media in place and get all your things together. Your office is preferable if you have an area like a reception room where you can put out some chairs. We find middle of the week works better, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, but it can be at a hotel and it can be at a restaurant. We've done that as well, and it's worked quite well.
Sounds stupid, commit to a date, but I want to tell you, I'll never forget this. About this for a long time before we ever did it. And we said, okay, let's commit. And we put it on the calendar. And we said, we're going to get everything done before this day, and it's going to happen. And it was that empowering move that actually forced ourselves to do it, right?
Failure was not an option at that point.
Exactly. So step 2 is commit to an advertising budget. And I will tell you that you will have to spend a few dollars to put some butts in some seats, whether it's in a hotel or in your waiting room. But you're going to have to advertise this event some fashion or form. It's probably the same media that you use to market your own practice presently. It could be print, it could be direct mail, it could be radio, TV, or all of the above. And God knows the internet is obviously good too. But when you're marketing an event, we find that some of the other media works a little more appropriately.
But don't forget, Scott, too, I mean, there's a whole slew of patients sitting within your own software program, your own practice.
Absolutely.
That have missing teeth, maybe are wearing partials, maybe wearing dentures that you can send invitations to and have them come on in and see you in a different way.
Absolutely. Not too many people are totally in love with their dentures, right?
Yeah.
So here's a little blurb.
WBEN invites you to tune into health. Here's Susan Rose with information on how to lead a happier and healthier life.
I'm here with Dr. Scott Westermeier from Westermeier Martin Dental Care. We know that they've been offering these monthly seminars for a long time now. Dr. Westermeier, someone who has missing teeth or failing dentures, and they know they need a lot of work. What really goes on at these seminars?
You know, we found this seminar environment to be very comfortable for people because they don't have to do that awkward thing where they make an appointment for an exam and they're not even sure they're going to like the dentist, or they're afraid they're going to be sold a bill of goods or something. It's an environment where they can sit and learn about all the different things that we do with dentures and dental implants, and we go through a whole list of options and alternatives. And what they can do is basically figure out if this is for them or if there's something attractive for them. They get to check out the office, our staff, the doctors, and if it feels good, we make appointments available. And if it doesn't, that's okay too. Just last night's seminar at the Marriott, I make it a point to ask everybody that attended, was this helpful? And to a person, they always appreciate all the information and the comfort they get out of understanding what it is that we do.
What is the most impactful thing at the seminars?
People tell me they like to hear most from the patient that we invite to speak and describe one of the procedures that they've had and gone through. So they're available for questions and answers, and getting a different perspective from the patient seems to be very helpful.
How can people learn more?
Well, tonight at 6:30, we're having a seminar right in the East Aurora office. You can call at 608-3741 and reserve a seat, or visit our website at wmsmile.com.
Are walk-ins welcome?
We always save a few extra chairs for people that walk in at the last minute.
Stay healthy and keep listening to Tune Into Health, brought to you by News Radio 930 AM WBEN.
Every now and then we sponsor a newscast, and I'll just do a quick 2-minute interview with the radio host, and I explain what a patient education seminar is. And I just make it clear that it's absolutely no strings attached, no sales pitch, no nothing, just no pressure. Just come in, learn, and leave. Get a second opinion. Use it any way you want. But we find that those people often were hesitant, and once they come in, we always survey the crowd at the end of the night, and I say, was this helpful? And they say, my God, this was wonderful. How come I didn't know about this before? You guys are great, blah, 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 blah. And they feel so much more empowered just because they understand more, and that they trust us now. It's awesome. So here's a little tip. Get a sponsor. There's some expenses involved. Well, guess what? You're selling somebody's implants, and there's no reason why they can't help you in some form or fashion do this, whether they buy the food, little hotel space, whatever it takes, but ask for some help. My God, at the end of the day, we are the salespeople for all kinds of dental product, and there's no reason why they can't help you accomplish that. So step 3, take it away.
So you want to, once you have your media in place and your invitations out, you want to be able to register your guests, and you want to send them out a welcome packet. At this point, it's really important to get your team involved and make sure that they know about the seminar, make sure they know what will be covered, and have them talk it up on the phone, and have them, when people call to register or inquire, they should say, oh my gosh, you're so smart to do this. It's going to give you so much info that you need to make the right decision for yourself. The welcome packet can be sent out, and that usually includes a letter welcoming them to the seminar, directions. We found that by including a ticket for entrance, that actually works really nicely. Don't give away too much information on the seminar. Maybe a little bio on the docs who will be presenting it. And that takes us to.
So we make it sound like seats are a little bit scarce. There's limited seating only, but there's always room for walk-ins.
Right.
And I guess now is appropriate time to say, if you have 20 people called, said they're coming, set the room up for 15 chairs, because that's how many is going to actually set it for a little less. Because it's always cool to be pulling out extra chairs for extra unexpected people walking in. It creates a little energy, a little buzz in the room, like, oh my God, there's more people here than they intended. And there's a lot of psychology going on in this room, and that helps. So Jobs taught us to share the stage and keep it simple. So Maria usually starts off, introduces us.
I come on like a mom,
Yeah.
I bring on my docs.
Hostess with the most.
I tell them, just about a little bit about the practice and who we are, so they know who's talking to them, and introduce the doctors. And then the doctors come in and do all the scientific dental stuff, and then the team ends the presentation. So the doctors aren't talking about making appointments or money or anything like that.
When Jobs does those, when he introduces the iPhone or the iPad and all that stuff, we pay really close attention to how they do that. We're naturally not as high tech as that. But if you ever notice, there's never more than 1 or 2, maybe 3 at the max bullet points on any given screen. It is super simple. And I always warn the docs, and this goes to this next step, that is, this is not the time to be super smart dentist, doctor, professor of implants. Is not the deal here at all. What's going on is people are there asking themselves a question: can I trust you? Not how smart are you? And if they feel good about you at the end of the night, they're going to say, you know, I'd like to stick around and find out more about my mouth with you guys. And too many doctors, dentists being the nerds that we are, want to start talking about the science and technical details of the thread inclination on their implants, and it's just such a wrong approach. This is absolutely a 5th grade presentation with easy to follow cartoons. No big, I mean, we use one big word: osseointegration, and we kind of make fun of it. Like that's the biggest word we use all night long. But we put a PowerPoint together, and you should too. You can make it as long as you want. Ours is actually probably too long. It's almost 80 slides. But we whip through it in an hour and a half, and people are happy as a clam.
No gross pictures.
Yeah.
Lots of before and afters. You know, put pictures of your teams. Video walkthrough of your office if you're doing the offsite in a restaurant. Just missing teeth. A lot of the options. If a person has one missing tooth or several or all of them, what are the different options? And
don't be scared to show your Cadillac stuff. In other words, onesie twosie implants is wonderful, but show full arch all on 4 type restorations and tell them how much it costs, or at least give a range, because there's always somebody in the audience that says, I hate this stinking denture. I want something that screws in and stays there. And they got $30,000 in their pocket. I'm not kidding. There's always one in the room that says they want to do that, and we're happy to oblige them. It's great.
And don't be afraid to talk fee ranges. You don't necessarily have to quote exact fees, but fee ranges, like we say, you know, you'll probably find yourself somewhere in between maybe $1,500 and $50,000, somewhere in between.
It's quite a range.
Yeah, well, people want to know. So then anybody who thought an implant was $100, they filter themselves out.
You know, after doing this for a bunch of years, we found out that one of the most motivating things we say, and we didn't realize it at first, was when we explain that when you take teeth out, that the bone loss that happens in your jawbone happens, and we show a little video of how that happens, that freaks people right out. And they said, I'm here because I don't want to lose any more bone in my jaw. I want one of those implants to save the bone. And we're like, okay. So being students of surveys, we mention this tip or this point several times in the presentation now and drive it home because it turns out it's such a motivating factor. So step 5, this is you.
Yep, organize your team. You're going to need a pregame team. They're the ones who are going to take the registration calls. They're going to send out the welcome packets. They're going to confirm the registrants. Then you need a game time. Those are the people who are your meet and greet people. They're the ones who take the patients through the tour of the office, explain to them how you're different and how wonderful all the creature comforts are in your office. And then post-game, because once the seminar is up, it ain't over. There's follow-up to be done. There's appointment to be made. So and everybody should be put on the right seat of the bus for this one.
This is you paid some money, you put some energy into this. It's worth paying attention to choreograph
Yes.
this event to the nth degree. It really pays. You want to create a wonderful experience for these folks. And there it is. It's not just a seminar, it's an experience. That means the tone of your voice, the way you communicate to each other, the giggles, the laughter, just the hominess, the hospitality that you show, all that stuff is being felt and is creating an experience. People come in kind of thinking they're going to get a lecture of some kind, like a little college lecture. They come in with their notebooks sometimes, ready to take notes. And I'm like, chill out, relax, have a piece of bacon or whatever we're serving that night, and just listen. And we have all kinds of fun with it.
Okay, I came here this evening because I received a postcard in the mail, and I really was interested in the implants, and unfortunately I didn't know anything about them. So I thought it would be well worth my time just to come and listen. I knew there were no strings attached. And what I learned tonight was extremely educational. Dr. Martin is extremely good at making people understand exactly where he's coming from, all about the implants, all about the bone, which I didn't know anything about, receding bone, all about how here it's so modern, up to date. The staff is extreme. The minute you walk in the door, they're extremely friendly. There's certainly no fear at all coming in here and having anything done. I was very impressed. My husband was here as well, and he was very impressed. And we did make an appointment when we came out, and I am positive that I will change from my dentist that I have been going to, and now I will come here. There's no question.
Typical lady right after the seminar. So step 6, AV equipment. I'll just say that bigger is better. You can't do this on a little television or a laptop screen. Blow this up on a projector screen or one of those big screen TVs. My God, you can buy 70 inches for under $1,000 today. Put one on the wall, run your PowerPoint through it, and make it big, because your target audience is just a little older, just a little hard of hearing, doesn't see as well, isn't as quick on their, they're a little bit towards the seniors. Those are the ones that have the money put aside to do this, as a general rule. Not everybody it falls into that demographic. However, they are going to be in your audience, so you might as well take good care of them, right? 7.
So one of the most important parts of the whole seminar, patients tell us all the time, it's their favorite part is the testimonials. So find a raving fan, somebody from your practice that absolutely loves what you've done to them, loves your practice, loves you, and coach them a little bit. Most audiences just really want to know what life was like before the patient had treatment. Did it hurt? How long did it take? Was it worth it? Did it hurt? Have them speak 5 minutes max. A lot of people will come on nervous, and then they kind of like being on stage, so you almost have to pull them up. But stay up there with them and ask them questions to sometimes lead them along. And I would always say videotape a testimonial just in case, for whatever reason, your live one doesn't show up. You can always have that in your back pocket.
This is not to be missed. This is an important thing. It's somebody else bragging about you besides yourself. They're the most important thing of the night, as Marie already said, but it is important to prep people so they understand what their role is. Hit these 3 main points, just take 5 minutes, be done. Now, if they're really effective, you can let them roll. If the audience is connecting with them and they want to stay up there a little bit, then it usually works to your advantage. But you know who's who. If we had one engineer get up there, pull a thing out of his pocket protector and read the schedule of his appointments, and we're like, oh no,
Yes.
That's not what we were looking for. But we have other people go up and share a story about their grandchildren, pointing to their teeth and embarrassing them, and going to tears. The whole audience is starting to sniffle, and at the end, she's biting into an apple, saying these things are awesome. They changed my life, and people just flip out over this stuff. So they start selling for you. It's great. Here's why these seminars work so well. We didn't know this for a couple of years till I read this book. We had already been doing these things for a while. And this guy he's right from Howard's home state there in University of Arizona, I believe. Robert Cialdini wrote this book. And inside the book, it talks about several principles of persuasion. And one of the reasons why these seminars work so well is they employ or deploy so many of the principles. One of which is the principle of
Authority.
Authority. By virtue of our title as doctor, we have authority. And when we convey information, we're using that principle right to our advantage. We use the principle of reciprocation. We always give a gift. There's some kind of little, as soon as they walk in the door, boom, we put something in their hands. When they sit down in their chair, there's another something on our chair. Then we offer them a gift certificate at the end for free. So that we're just loading them up with gifts, and they kind of feel a tiny bit indebted to us psychologically. And the repayment is literally just making an appointment, because that's the only ask we make is, why don't you come in and find out about yourself? It's a free consult, and it's just an easy sell. But the most important one, I would say, is a thing called social proof. And basically that's like, if everybody else is doing it, it's good enough for me. And at the end of the seminar, when we say, you can stand up and make an appointment to see us next week and find out about your situation, the first person that stands up and walks over the desk creates opens the floodgates. It's okay for everybody else right after that first person does. And, we used to think we'd have to plant somebody to do that, but it's never necessary. There's always some hyper person in the audience that wants to jump up and be the first one in the book. But once that happens, the whole room signs up, which, by the way, now's a good time to say, we usually convert the entire room. The only people that don't sign up are the people that drove the other people there to come there. And sometimes they do too.
Yeah.
I mean, we often convert at 100% of the room. Now, we measure a conversion as, somebody making an appointment for a consult. So that's an easy conversion. Then the people are all preheated. They understand everything. When it comes to that consult, they're buying something. I don't care if it's a few fillings or a couple of arches of implants, and it could be up to $55,000, $60,000. But it happens so routinely, we don't even get excited about it anymore. That's just what happens when we do seminars now. But this guy's got it nailed, and we so many of his principles that we see working in these seminars. Okay. Step 8.
So your call to action. So if you have an impactful presentation, it actually eliminates the selling because it brings people to that point where they want to know what their own options are. And they want implants because they can get them. So make them an offer that they can't refuse to take the next step. So we offer them a free consultation with x-rays. And we tell them there's no obligation, there is absolutely no commitment, but they owe themselves at least that knowledge of what their own options are so that they can make the right decision for themselves. We also then give them, like Scott mentioned before, a gift certificate to help them jumpstart any treatment. And I'll tell you, people love those gift certificates. And that's where we get a lot of the drivers that come with the intended, because they'll use them for cleaning or a filling or whatever. So we actually get a lot of people who did not intend to come in or actually convert.
So be smart. If there's a bunch of people, don't make them all wait in line to make an appointment. Have a few people taking schedule or making appointments. Make it easy. Drop all the barriers for being able to engage and do business with you. That's just fundamental. Make it easy to buy from you. Okay. Step 9. You think when some people walk out of the room, they don't appoint, if that were to happen, you tend to think, oh, they weren't interested. Well, maybe not. Maybe they just had to go get a babysitter or whatever. People sometimes have to duck out. You'd be a fool to not have their name and number recorded such that you could follow up and say, hey, was that helpful? And can we help you out with anything? And those people said, yeah, I meant to, whatever. And can I still get the deal? Can I still get the free whatever? I'm like, absolutely, of course. And this kind of follow-up turns into thousands and thousands of dollars. It's foolish to let them go.
And you want to track your results, and you want to look at how many registered versus how many appeared versus how many appointed. And then you tweak your results. You keep tweaking, and making little adjustments so that you're always on the pattern of success.
Yeah. So this seems like a no-brainer. Step 10 is, Maria and I did this the very first time. We looked at each other and said, well, that was pretty good. I wonder if we'll ever do that again. And we're like, wait a minute, that's stupid. Why don't we do it again next month? In fact, every now and then I ask myself, why don't we do this every week? But it makes perfect sense to do this on a regular basis. You will reap the rewards months and months from now from the people that saw it, cut the ad out, hung it on the refrigerator, not knowing really that it was going to come again. But it's clear. We always call our seminars the monthly seminar, so that if they can't make this month, they'll hit the next month, or maybe the month after, and maybe 6 months later. But it's such a regular thing in our community now, and that's what's allowed us to position ourselves as implant experts in our community. And it's fascinating how people just associate implants with our practice. Oh, and it doesn't hurt at all that if you get a little celebrity or somebody that helps you with your ads. We were able to invite Jim Kelly of Football Quarterback Hall of Fame to do a few of our ads, and he mentions the seminar. In fact, he does a little video at the beginning of our seminar that says, this was a smart decision to come here. I trust these guys. I love these guys. Give a good listen. And boom, boom. It's just like, 15 seconds long or something like that.
Yeah. And Scott, just like with all marketing, frequency and consistency of your message, that's the most important part. It's important to be one of the first in your community to do this. That way you establish your authority. And at first you're going to get a lot of the early adapters, and then everybody else is, crowds just keep on coming. And, so some of you are probably out there thinking, okay, so I do all this, and what happens if nobody comes?
I remember one night 4 people showed up, and I was pissed. I was like, damn, I spent $7,000 on ads and stuff, and I got 4 people in the room. And Maria had to remind me of something we used to talk about. She goes, the only people that know there's only 4 people here are these 4 people. The rest of the 500,000 people in the community think you're having a seminar tonight, and they, some wish they could be there, and some, they missed it again or whatever. But nobody knows that. You have done the community and yourself a service by announcing the fact that you're giving seminars on a topic that may or may not be of interest to them this month. But I want to tell you, don't lose heart if you get a few people show up. Oh, and by the way, the third person that made an appointment that night scheduled what, $11,000 case. I for some reason remember that number. So paid for it all right there. Boom. So ready.
Yeah.
All right. So I used to whine a little bit when I'd say, oh, I got to give a seminar tonight. And then I would kind of remember, oh yeah, all I do is get up and run my mouth a little bit in front of a slideshow, answer a few questions, and book $50,000 to $100,000 worth of dentistry. That's the best hour of my entire month, every month. For 8 years, that has always been the best hour every time. So I have to occasionally remind myself of that, but it's true. And
it's not only just about the money, Scott. I mean, it's back to,
well, it's a business.
It's a business, but it's also the, how many times do patients come up to you with tears in their eyes and so grateful for the fact of that we put this information out.
We're very blessed. We take it for granted. When you start doing full arch restorations with implants, and you talk about changing lives, we do sometimes take it for granted how blown away people are by the stuff we do. We do this thing called Teeth Express with BioHorizons, and they take a nap with a bunch of nasty teeth and wake up with a whole new set of teeth screwed in, ready to go. That you want to say that's not unbelievable? I mean, you guys have seen the Clear Choice commercials. They do a great job marketing their stuff. We do the exact same thing, and for a few $1 million less budgeting, or less of a marketing budget, I should say. But this is your way to do it. A homespun 5th grade seminar on a regular basis will get you the people who will come in and say, hey, can I have that kind of dentistry? And yes, you do. So listen, what we've done, I alluded to before, this may sound simple, but actually there's a lot that goes into making this go off well. And if you're the type of person that says, okay, I get it, instead of reinventing the wheel, I'll just copy this thing. We put it all together before we put it in a box. Actually, Maria did.
Well, I put it together in a way that the doctor doesn't really have to get so involved with it, because doctors have so many things to do that you could actually just hand this right over to your team. And like in our practice, our doctors show up right in time, right on cue for their presentation. Everything else is done for them. It's an entire checklist of what to do 6 weeks before, 4 weeks before, 3 weeks before. And I have to say we've gotten a lot of actually nice feedback about how easy it is actually to implement.
We call it the ultimate seminar blueprint. And it's exactly what it is. It's just a blueprint for how to do these seminars and make them effective. Step by step, super simple, paint by numbers, works every single time. It's just dead stupid easy. It's really, but I told you this already. We routinely generate $50,000 to $100,000 every time we do it. Bruce Fine says, wow, this was the perfect tool. I always wanted to promote implants in my practice, but other than ads, I was at a loss. Had thought about doing a seminar, but didn't know where to start. That's typical. This seminar in a box made it easy to do a seminar, and the ROI is incredibly huge. I'm almost embarrassed to say. That's a buddy, Bruce, and he's one of the early adopters of buying the blueprint, and it took off for him. It's totally digital now. It's downloadable, and it includes time-sensitive activity checklists, a PowerPoint presentation, print ads, radio copy, resources, and suggested presentation equipment. What would it be worth to you to routinely add 50 to 100 grand to your schedule every single month? I mean, it's silly. It's a very incredible package, I would say, if I don't say so myself. Listen, inside of the package, we did a video it's like a coaching video. Here's how to put on a seminar that's successful. Step by step, we go through the slides and say, here's when we explain bone loss. Here's why we explain bone loss. We tell it this way. We use this language. So that's very effective in helping somebody out who's just a little quirky or a little uneasy about giving the presentation, like I was initially. But over time, we find out what works. So we put it in a video and coach it through. We also made a video of us doing it. Because if you have that little voyeuristic nature in you and you just want to see what does it look like when they do it, we made a fly-on-the-wall video so you can see what it looks like as we put it on.
We include a 7 fatal mistakes report because you will make these mistakes, and we know it because we've made them. So we want you to avoid them. So that's included. Also a customization guide for your presentation, how to make the presentation actually reflect and represent you, your team, your logos, all sorts of letters, forms, and tons of updates to best performing ads presentations. So we're constantly updating as we're doing it, and as we're finding things work better, we're updating things.
So we put this blueprint together. We have a website. It's called The Empowered Practice. It's called theempoweredpractice.com. And we routinely put this blueprint together for $59.97. With all the bonuses, it has a value of over $12,000 with a total value of over $18,000. We're very proud of this because it works so well for us. It's just blown our practice out of the water. What we did was for Howard's audience, we normally sell this thing for $59.95, and if anybody that's listening to the podcast wants to take advantage of it, go to theempoweredpractice.com, and there's a little coupon bonus. What's it called? Just a little code you have to put in. If you write Farran there, we'll take $1,000 off of it. So it's only $49.97. So not to be confused with $49.97. It is $4,000.99.
Yeah. $4,990.
It's about $5,000. But I'm going to tell you what, some people say, well, $5,000, I'll do this myself. Go ahead, do it yourself. That's why we're doing the podcast. We want you to be able to do it yourself. But if you have any appreciation for the time value of money and your time and the value of your time, and you understand how much money is at stake by doing it right the first time, I'm not kidding about the $50,000 to $100,000. If you do a successful seminar the first time and generate that kind of ROI, then this price becomes absolutely negligible.
Don't forget, Scott, too, we've added something that's very, very valuable that we don't have in our bullet points, and that is that first 27 people to get an actual quick start onboarding by our team. So somebody from our team will call you, answer your questions, and help you get started so that it actually gets done.
Here's another guy, Dr. Matt Hookham. He says, I started doing implant seminars over 2 years ago. It made a huge impact on my practice and my community. My patients are better informed, and I definitely do more implants because of the seminars. Thanks for the help. Typical comments. I love this guy, Sean Tarpening. We just did our first seminar. We had close to 30 attend and 16 appointed that night. The next day, the third person that came in for their one-on-one consultation was a $50,000 double hybrid case. Are you kidding me? Couldn't wait to call Scott Westermeier and tell him, incredible. He's so funny. That guy is such an implementer. He just hears a good idea, and the next day it's done. And he reaps the rewards, too.
And Dr. Glenn Schmidt from New Orleans, he purchased the Ultimate Seminar Blueprint last May in Miami, started doing the seminars in June, another implementer. In 7 months, they did over $300,000 in new implant cases, and now they're doing them twice a month. Need I say anything more?
It's so fun hearing from the people that grab the kit and run with it. I'm sure some people get it and stuff it under their bed and say, I'll do that someday. That's just silly. But the implementers, if you're one of those can-do people, or you're one of those people that are stuck and you just want to figure out a way, what's a way you can distinguish yourself and be different, then there's no more guessing. There's no struggle, no creating nothing. You don't have to test anything. You won't make a mistake because you figured it out already. And don't waste your valuable time. There's no kidding. This is the way to do it. We'll give a 60-day money-back guarantee to anybody who wants to do this. If you want to grab it, if it doesn't float your boat and you think you can't do it, or there's something about it that you don't understand or believe in, we'll give you your money back. We don't care. We know this thing works, and we're very confident about it. So we'll stand behind that.
Oh, there you go.
There's another.
The Quick Start team, first 27 orders.
Ryan, a little editing here, but we have a Quick Start team that will hold people's hand right through their first seminar. So at the Empowered Practice, there's both an email and a phone number that'll get them a direct line into our guys that will ensure that their first seminar goes off well. And that we call the Quick Start team, okay? There it is. We want you to go to theempoweredpractice.com, click on the purchase button, enter a promo code FARRAN, choose a single or a 3-payment option, enter your email, blah, 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 and enjoy immediate access to the stuff. You get the material right away. That's great. You don't have to wait 3 weeks for it to show up in a box or something like that.
So, some of the people who have implemented this, Scott, have called us after doing the seminars for a while and asked us, now we're so busy, we have all these patients and we need help now because we have this chaos in our office because we've grown so fast and we've had this explosive growth that we don't really know how to handle it.
I'll tell you, I met at a meeting once. I met a guy that called himself a coach, and I didn't really understand what a coach was, business coach. And because he was not a dental business coach, I thought he had no application to me. And I had lunch with this guy. We were in a mastermind group together, and he really impressed me. And he goes, I can really help you. And I said, yeah, but you don't know anything about dentistry. He goes, it doesn't matter. And I said, yes, it does. And he doesn't. Yes, no, yes, no. Long story short, we got together. His name is Earl Kemper, and we call him Big Earl. He's a great big mountain of a guy, and he's a mountain of a guy, has been to us for the last, 5, 6 years.
10 years.
He's made an incredible difference in helping us organize the chaos that we created, because we actually created a mess with these seminars. There were so many people coming in, demanding so much service. We had a problem. We had to expand the office. We had to hire associates. We had to reestablish our systems and how we delivered care. And with success comes issues. And we needed a little help doing that. And Earl was instrumental in doing that. And to this day, we talk to Earl every single week on a regular basis. We've partnered up with him. In fact, not only is he our coach, but we joined forces to build this thing called the empowered practice, because the blueprint just happens to be the start of it all to generate inflow, new patients into your practice. But then we've gotten together and actually built a mastermind and a coaching program for dentists that find themselves in that same situation. Like, holy cow, I got a lot of business. I got a whole new set of problems. Who's going to help me with this? Well, we've done just that. In fact, we've even put a cool thing together. Howard, we're almost done here. But if people want to do this, we have put together a little program. We're going to do it in September, where you can actually fly into Buffalo. I know that sounds scary. But
in September, though. It's nice.
You can actually sit in one of the live seminars that we do to the public and just kind of blend in like a patient, witness exactly how we do what we do. And then when the people stand up a point and go home, we open the bar and deconstruct the seminar for the dentists that come in to see it. And then the next day, we do a deep dive on the practice and how we built, and what this year will be over an $11 million practice in one building, fee for service, outside of Buffalo, New York. And people find it very, how do you say, eye-opening?
Yes.
We're not magicians. We're just normal people, but we put a pretty good thing together, and people find that they can learn a whole bunch. So we're gonna put this little thing together. I guess we call those things boot camps. And if anybody's interested, go to the Empowered Practice, give a call, and we'll tell you more about it. But we're real proud of it. We've done it a couple times in the past. It's been real successful. So we're going to do it again this fall. Howard, that's all we got, man. We could go all night.
Well, I'll tell you what, going to Buffalo sounds good, because right now it is 108 degrees in Phoenix and it's 73 degrees in Portland.
Oh, my God.
And how far are you, for anybody going to Portland, how far, it's not that far to Niagara Falls.
Oh, my God. A little over a half hour from Niagara Falls. Beautiful.
Yeah, I'll never forget, I stayed there one time, and the bed was the shape of a heart.
Oh, yeah, it's the honeymoon capital, right?
Yeah. I did not know that, or I would have brought my cat. So I had to sleep alone in a heart-shaped bed, man. That was a new rock bottom for me. But hey, I think you guys are amazing. I think it's great, and I know dentists just want to, when they heard you talk, all they wanted to know about was why you chose BioHorizons, why you placed Fire. They just want to learn all the to do. They're not interested in the business. And my job is to try to focus these millennials that, dude, you got $350,000 in debt. You can't call them patients or customers. They can't wait in the waiting room. It's your receptionist. They named their receptionist after a piece of furniture, the front desk lady. How low is that? They don't look at the lady answering the phone as incoming sales, and they don't track, how many hits on their website convert to how many call. and how many have to call to convert to how many come in as a patient, and how many come in as a patient to how many convert to get actual treatment. And they don't want to think about any of that. They just want to know, well, why did you pick BioHorizon? Why didn't you pick Noble Biocare or Straumann? And I think what you guys are doing is amazing. It's also amazing that you can get people to part with their money and upgrade their dentures to implants and all that stuff, instead of thinking that they should just put a jacuzzi on their deck or go to Europe or buy a new car. So I think what you're doing is very, very great for the profession.
Thank you. People have money for what they want. Our job is to show them what they can have and how it can affect their quality of life, and then they want it.
Some would call it selling, but I love how Maria says that. We just show them what they can have. They point to the menu and say, I like that, and we say, well, can we help you get it? Well, we'll show you how you can finance that. And they're like, great, done, let's go. It's that simple. My consults are a joke. I walk in and point to a 42-inch screen of their pan, and I said, yeah, those teeth got to go. 2 or 3 implants there or whatever, and we can give you a whole new set of teeth, and you can look like this picture tomorrow. And they're like, what?
Pan or a CBCT?
Well, I'm usually showing them a pan in the consult room, but the CBCT is how we plan it out, yeah.
Yeah, I think the pano, the two-dimensional pano, is the best teaching method. The FMX, there's no way their mind can put 18 films back together, and the CBCT is way too complicated. And I still think the greatest invention of all time in all of dentistry since Pierre Fichard was whoever figured out how to put a R on one side and an L on the other on that pano. That was just the single greatest invention in all of dentistry. And on that note, thank you for all that you guys do for dentistry. Thank you for all you do for the people of Buffalo. And I hope a lot of my homies go up to Buffalo and get out of this heat.
Hey, thanks for having us, Howard. Really
Thank
appreciate it.
you,
It was fun
Howard.
sharing.